don't believe that. I believe when someone's authentic, they are in the best moments of themselves. The camera can capture those moments in an instant that video can't. And here's why.
My name is Peter Sumpton, and you're listening to the Marketing Study Lab podcast, the podcast that gives you actionable marketing knowledge, getting you and your marketing in the best possible shape to be the driving force of your business for long-term success. From strategy and tactics to practical application, we've got it all covered. If you'd like to support the show, it'd be fantastic if you could leave a 5-star Apple Podcast review or get in touch. Especially if you have a burning marketing question, I'd love to chat it through with you. Email me, peter@marketingstudylab.co.uk. Or you can find me on LinkedIn. There's a link in the show notes if you can't be bothered searching on LinkedIn. So what are we going to learn, and who's on Marketing Study Lab today? Deep down, we all think we are good with a camera. A keen eye for a good pic. But when you come up against somebody who knows their craft well, you realise that you should probably stick to just the family holiday snaps. Sandy Grigsby is one of those people. She's not only one of the top photographers in the US, with clients flying from around the world to get in front of her camera, from influencers and Fortune 500 executives to billionaires, thought leaders and celebrities. But within these snaps, Sandy heightens a personal brand and can give you the confidence that you didn't even know you had. Or as Sandy puts it, this can be your confidence catalyst. She's basically a psychologist behind a camera. We always hear that being authentic is important. But is this even possible in a world where it is easy to criticise from behind a keyboard? And why do photos spark such emotion in us? Luckily, Sandy can help us understand these answers. But first, as someone who wears glasses, I need to ask this. Sandy, do glasses make people look more professional?
I'm going to have to say it depends on your face. Okay. So some people look super nerdy in their glasses, and I'm going to say no, they don't look more professional. Other people look sexy and edgy in their glasses. I also think it's important to have the right kind of glasses for your face. So depending on what that is, yes, it can make you look more professional, but sometimes no, it doesn't.
Okay, that's great. So I've got a main question coming up, which you might have to just take care of how you answer that question. But we'll come on to that soon. First of all, I just want to dive straight into your story. And what is your story that brings you to this point in your career?
Okay. Well, I'm Sandy Grigsby. I am a personal branding image expert, which means I get how your photo should look so that you can attract the right people that you're marketing to. And I started out as a personal branding photographer and also doing web design, graphic design. I did that for over 15 years, specializing in people's websites, so how they could market themselves online. And I also worked as a graphic designer and a retoucher in the past. So I got really good at retouching people's images. And it just spilled into this portrait photography and personal branding career that I've sort of collected over the years through all of the different things that I've done. So part of what I do also is I call myself a confidence catalyst. I did trademark that, so that is mine.
Mhm.
And that also came from working with people, and I would work with people on their images and see that they were so hung up on the way that they perceived themselves, and they forgot about all of the cool things that they have done or that make them unique and special. So I would draw those things out of them and then capture this incredible, powerful image of them. And then they would see it and go, whoa, that's me? I'm like, yeah, look how confident you look. Look how powerful. Look how you command the room. And they're like, oh, I didn't even think of that. You're right. And it was when they called upon those things that make them special.
I love that. Sticking to things that make you feel special and brings out the best in you.
Yeah, we all have it. We just forget about it. So we get caught up in what we think we're supposed to be for other people, or what people have told us at one point in our lives, or past traumas. And we forget about our magic. And our magic is it's everyone has it. Everybody has something magical about them. It just might not be the thing that they're focused on at that time.
And I suppose that might come from the fact that if you have a conversation with somebody, particularly if it's feedback or in a working environment, there's 6 positives and there's 1 negative. You'll come away and
Mhm.
somebody will go, "How did that go?" And the first thing they'll say is the
Right?
negative.
We get so hung up on that. Like, if you think of all of the things that you've done in your life and how many of the acquaintances you've made or interactions with other people or projects you've worked on have gone just totally wrong, just completely sideways, really bad. And then you count all of the things that have gone right. The times you walked up to people and had conversations and they laughed, as opposed to the time where they punched you in the face or walked away from you or told you you were rude. Like the numbers, they don't even match. The good times far outweigh the bad times, but we get hung up and locked in on all the bad.
Yeah, absolutely. So are you one of these photographers that always has a camera just in case?
Kind of.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Brilliant.
when I'm working, obviously I always have my camera.
Yeah.
But if I'm traveling, it's kind of hit or miss. If it's I like to bring it with me, but I get lazy sometimes because it's heavy. I mean, I have, you know, I think the body of my camera alone is like 5 grand and then one lens is 3. So, just those two pieces together, that's, between eight to $10,000 in camera equipment and it's heavy. So I don't like carrying it with me everywhere, but I will do it if I'm going to some exotic country and I know I have opportunities to capture incredible shots, not just of others, but I do selfies as well. So I'll put my camera on a tripod and take cool pictures of me in these locations. But yeah, I am that, I
That's
guess,
cool,
in a
and
way.
I'm far from saying that it's all about the expensive equipment, but in your area, I suppose that does make a difference. You
It
see
does.
some amazing photos taken on phones and stuff, but when people pick up a camera or they buy a camera, say it's $100, $200, whatever it might be, and they think, I can take photos, I can do this, but there's a stark difference between what you can take and what someone else can take.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And we have a lot of people who say they're professional photographers. And then you look at their work and you're like, what? They got lucky along the way and they took a really incredible shot at one point and they know the equipment. Maybe they know the equipment incredibly well. They understand apertures, they understand ISO, they understand all of the lingo that goes with photography and the technicality of it. But they don't understand how to work with a person to capture their best side. And that's an art form. So when I see a photographer who might not know all of the technical aspects, like maybe their ISO is a little off. So that means like how much light is coming into the camera. So whether the image looks darker or brighter. So that might be a little bit off or something else technically might be wrong, but they've captured the best of someone. That's an art. So you either have it or you don't. It can be learned, but if you're sitting there constantly thinking of how I'm going to capture this person in the perfect way and putting all of the, I want to say mathematics behind it, then it's not an authentic image. So truly talented photographers, it's an art. It's like any art form, painting, sculpting, it's similar. So the technical part of it, that can be learned, but the art part of it, that's something you're gifted with.
There's a really good phrase that I think sums that up, and that's all the gear and no idea.
Mhm.
And I think that's perfect.
Constantly. Yes, I see that all the time. All of the gear and no idea. And that's not just for photographers. That goes with videographers.
Yeah.
That goes with developers.
Mm,
I mean, writers, all of these people who do these things that they technically know how to do it, but they're not passionate about it. You need that little bit of magic.
yeah, absolutely. Completely agree. So before we get into a bit more detail about everything photography wise and how you do what you do in terms of specifics, if you took a look at my profile photo, what am I doing wrong? Hmm.
Okay.
Just be mindful
Well,
that I have a lot of gear and maybe no idea, but I've got a lot of power here in terms of I can just hang up the phone.
yes. All right, Peter. So let's talk about what you're doing right.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I like that. Positive.
So first of all, I do love the glasses. I
Great.
think they're
Whew.
fun. Your face holds them well. They're interesting. I love your haircut. Haircut looks great. You've got a great face. Nice cheekbones, nice nose, nice chin, everything. So overall, you are attractive. You look great in your pictures. But here are some things that I would tweak.
Cool.
To begin, this looks like it was taken with an iPhone or in indoors under fluorescent lights. So you were in an office space, there was not natural lighting, you were probably against a wall in your office, and someone used a flash or maybe even the flash on the camera and it just sort of hit you. Am I right?
Yeah, everything you just said there is absolutely bang on.
Okay. I can tell from the shadows in the background. I can tell from the coloring. Overall, the image has a yellowish tinge to it. That's from fluorescent lighting. So that's a big mistake that people make when they just want a headshot. The having a solid backdrop idea is great. I love that, but they do it indoors under the under the wrong lighting and it just ends up like this. Okay. So that's what we want to fix. Immediately, you'd want to color correct it to get away that yellow tinge. And if it were me in this situation, and let's say I just had an iPhone, I would have backed you away from the wall so that the flash wouldn't have put such a hard shadow behind you.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then what I also would have done is I love your smile because it feels natural, but I kind of see that whoever posed you didn't have you do what I call is the turtleneck. That's where you stick your face out like a turtle and it creates a nice definition to your jawline. So whoever took your picture didn't have you do that because your chin is actually back. And since it's pulling back, which is what we naturally do when we smile, it's creating less of a shadow and it's causing the skin underneath your chin to fold back and it gives a slight illusion of a double chin. I could tell you don't have a double chin, but it's just the way that the picture is taken. So it looks like you have a double chin. So that's what I would have tweaked to improve this image. And I would have had you stand up nice and tall because you're kind of tipping forward. And also, the photograph is taken from slightly above eye level, which is diminutive. So that makes it look like you are the one who is listening and
Hmm.
not educating. And as a podcaster, you're actually educating and not listening. So we would want you to have the camera at eye level or slightly below.
That is so eloquently put. That could have gone completely wrong, but that is well done. That
There's one last thing.
Okay,
You
go
have
on.
a little yellow thing in the corner and it looks like it had some writing on it.
Yeah,
That is a little bit of a distraction
yeah.
in the framing of the shot. So I would either crop the shot a little bit tighter or Photoshop that out or pull that out when you were taking the picture in the beginning.
Cool, excellent, noted. I will keep that photo available for anybody that's listening. It'll be in the show notes, and I'll put it in some other places as well. But I'm pretty sure it won't be there for very long. Put it that way.
Perfect.
So speaking of having your photo taken, it's one thing that a lot of people absolutely hate. Yeah, I've been in many positions where I've gone around a company. Maybe it's just for standard company photos, and there's so many people. Oh no, I haven't got. I'm just not. I'm not feeling it today. Oh God, no, you're not taking my photo. Those kind of things, and it's probably due to lack
Mhm.
of confidence, even though they won't admit that. It probably is. But why do you think we have this hang up with photos, and what can we do to build that belief in ourselves?
Well, we've all seen that picture of ourselves where we look dreadful. Mouth open, weird angle, eyes half closed, kind of that look that's not fun. And
Mhm.
that instantly comes to mind for most people when they go in front of a camera and they're looking dreadful. And especially for women in particular, like we don't want to look heavier than we might be. And a lot of times people who are taking our pictures aren't posing us in ways that are flattering. So our necks will look fatter, our arms will look fatter. We'll just look bigger overall. And that's not fun. Guys have the same thing. So that double chin thing that I was telling you about,
Mhm.
clearly you don't have a double chin, but in your picture, it looks like you possibly could. So there's so many things that can happen when someone's taking your picture. So the key to feeling ready and not hating having the picture taken is to be prepared mentally before you go in for your photo session or whatever it is. If someone's going to take your picture, if you're feeling prepared mentally, like you know what to do, it's easy to look incredible in every single image.
How do you prepare yourself mentally then? What is that, just saying I'm hot, or is there something else that you do?
Well, okay. So a few of the things to look really confident on a camera that I do with my clients is posture. Posture is absolutely the most important thing you can do. So let's think about how we walk around on a regular. Normally when we're walking, we have our shoulders down, we are kind of slouching, If you're tall, you're looking down at people. So you're literally coming down to their level by hunching over to sort of reach their eardrums or their eye level, right?
Hmm.
If you're short, you might be looking up, but when you're done, you slouch down again. We look at our cell phones, which is looking down. We look at our laptops, which usually are at a level that's not optimal for our vision or our backs, right? So they're usually lower. There's so many reasons why we tend to look down, which causes slouching. That said, when we're going in front of a camera, we're still in that same posture. We're in this slouchy down, unflattering posture. It makes you look heavier, especially around the middle. It makes you look like you have no confidence. It just doesn't feel good. Like there's so many downsides to slouching. So when you go into a photo session or any sort of picture to be taken of you, immediately correct your posture. So the way that looks is you want to elongate your spine and your neck as if you're stretching for the stars. So you want to lift your chest, elongate the spine and neck, stretch your neck as tall as you can get. That's the first way to immediately correct your posture. It also makes you look more confident instantly. Then what you're going to do, for women in particular, this also works for guys, is you want to stick your butt out. Sticking the butt out creates slimming and tightening of the abs. So it creates your tummy to go flat. It adds curves in the right spaces. So it makes your rear end look more curved. And it also helps to make your posture go up. So it creates a lengthening of the spine and it forces you up. I also love for people to have their chests up. So lift your chest. But when we lift our chests, we often will tighten up our shoulders and bring our shoulders to our ears. So instead of doing that, you want to relax the shoulders, let them fall back, but keep the pecs high. This goes for ladies as well. And what this does is it makes you look instantly more confident. It's an open posture. So you don't have your arms crossing your chest, you have your arms to your side, and it's more open, welcoming, and inviting. So that immediately is going to allow you to look and feel better. So when you're walking into a picture and you know you've got the confidence, you've got the posture, now your mind is set because you know what to do, immediately you're going to be more presentable on camera. Another tip is what I had mentioned to you earlier about that double chin thing. It's called the turtleneck. So when your neck is elongated, your chest is lifted, your butt is sticking out, your arms and shoulders are relaxed, you want to take your chin and you want to bring it forward like a turtle sticking its head out of a shell. Now, what I've noticed many people do is they will naturally bring the chin up. So you want to correct that. So if you bring your chin forward, it goes up, so your nose goes up to the sky. You want to tip it down. Like think of the base of your skull and your skull is on a hinge and you just want to tip the skull down but not move the neck, right? So you're bringing your neck forward, your chin forward, and then you tip the chin down slightly. That's the perfect way to have that turtleneck position.
I love it. I'm totally doing it right now as well. It's hard not
I
to.
know, right?
As soon
And
as
then
you, yeah,
and then like you're like, okay, I did what she says. I gotta look good. And when you
yeah.
see the pictures, you're like, man, look at that defined jawline, and I look so confident. I look like I know what I'm doing. I look tall. I look this. It makes such a difference.
So there's a bit of a contradiction here for me because we hear being authentic is massively important, especially with
Yes.
so much trash out there at this moment in time. But the majority of people wouldn't be seen as necessarily authentic, and by that I mean, people wouldn't dream of going out the house without maybe makeup or styling their hair or potentially putting on a suit or whatever it might be for males and females. Goes without saying. Is there a balance here, or should you just go with whatever makes you comfortable?
Okay, so here's where there's a misconception about authenticity. Being authentic doesn't mean looking like you look when you wake up in the morning. Being authentic means showing who you are internally. Who are you when you are standing with your friends and you're truly enjoying yourself and you're giving love to them, they're giving love to you, you feel that warm fuzzy goodness, you're living in absolute joy and you're happy. Who are you as that person? Are you someone who talks really fast and gets excited and makes jokes and makes them laugh? Are you a little bit more mellow and thoughtful, low key, like, okay, I got you? Are you someone who's going to get them moving and be strict and I can help you do this, but you got to do it like X, Y, and Z? Like, who is that person when you are in a safe, happy, comfortable space and you're feeling your best? That is what we mean by authenticity. Not, I woke up in the morning, I don't have eyelashes, my hair looks totally jacked, and I'm naked. Like, no. So that's why I said there's a misconception about authenticity, especially when you hear people say, well, I went to this photo shoot and she did my hair and she did my makeup. I never wear makeup and I just feel like it's not me. If it's done correctly, the makeup is going to look so natural that it's going to look like you are just refreshed. It's not going to look so dramatically different. And I tell people who go, well, I don't want to have a lot of makeup done. The camera sees us differently than our naked eye. So the way that the camera is with the right lighting, it's going to actually wash out colors from your face. So if you are going into a photo session and you have no makeup on, you will look like a ghost. You will look like a zombie. You will look like some like dead person, okay? Because everything, your eyelashes, your color in your cheeks, your lips, everything gets washed out. That's not what our naked eye sees.
Mm.
So it's important to have the makeup put on. Even for men, I do eyebrows for men. I give them a little bit of blush. I give them some contouring because it creates shadow and it allows the camera to see things that it wouldn't normally see. Now, to the naked eye, it'll feel like too much. So the authenticity in that is allowing you to look fresh and feel amazing so you can come out as who you actually are in your best moment.
Yeah. And that's what we mean by authenticity. I absolutely
Correct.
love that. It's brilliant.
Correct.
I'm going to have to stop filming myself as soon as I get out of bed. It's doing nothing for my personal branding either. It's terrible.
It's true. Like
Yeah.
film yourself after you've left a party, not where you're drinking all night, but like an event with your friends. And you know how when you go out with your friends and you're all pumped up and you're super excited and you had such a great time and you're jovial and you're laughing, you're like, God, this was such a great time. After that is an excellent time to put yourself on camera.
And people will appreciate that and they'll resonate to you as well. The right people will resonate to you because that is who you are.
Correct. That is authentic.
So moving on to I personally am more of a visual person than anything. Yeah, I'd rather look or be image led than I would copy led. I'm a terrible reader. It takes me forever. That's why I love podcasting. Absolutely love it. Learn a shed load from podcasting.
Yeah.
And for me and a whole host of people, photography sparks emotions that other media can't. Countless times, I suppose you can remember a favorite photo, a favorite artist painting, and things like that. Why is it so powerful?
I'm actually glad you asked this. I was recently in a meeting with someone and they were talking about it's for doing a television show, and they were talking about capturing people on video. And somebody sort of dismissed the photography aspect, like, yeah, because the photographs aren't real. I don't believe that. I believe when someone's authentic, they are in the best moments of themselves. The camera can capture those moments in an instant that video can't. And here's why. When you're in video, we tend to put on a persona. We know the camera's on us. We're going to pretend to be something in that moment. It's like an actor. Even when you're being authentic in front of the camera, you're still putting on a show. It's a preconceived idea of who we think we're supposed to be for what the camera is doing. And some ways that can be seen as inauthentic. And in some ways that can capture us in lights that aren't the best for us. Also, as we're moving around and we're thinking, we are actually doing body signals that for those who can read it can tell if we're telling the truth or we're not. So subconsciously, even if you don't understand what those signals are, like there's some things like if you twitch a certain way or you look a certain way or you rub your nose or whatever, it's a tell that you're fibbing or you're maybe, trying to be creative and you're not. I don't know. It's a bunch of tells, right? So subconsciously, we as human beings can see those tells. And that's why video takes a different effect on us. But in a photograph, it's a moment and it's frozen in time. And that one photo can tell so many stories. And when we see that photo we love, we go, oh my gosh, it's that second in time that told the story of what I wanted it to tell. That is me. That's me at my happiest. That's me at my saddest. That is me when I am super excited, or that's my creative face, or that's my really upset face. Like whatever it is that we connect with, we can see that in a moment and it's not contaminated by any other reflex or reaction that might happen seconds after. So I think that's why photography can be very valuable and it can tell a beautiful story, especially when the right moment is captured.
And I think you hit the nail on the head there with that last statement. It tells a story. So with video, for me, I like video. I like the media, but video for me, you don't have to think of that story because it's given to you in the video.
Hmm.
Whereas a photo, you see a photo and immediately you start, if it's done right, you start making the correct judgments and the correct thought process in terms of what led up to that photo, or what is that photo saying to me, or what emotion is that sparking. Where a video, it kind of guides you towards that anyway.
Correct. And like I said, subconsciously, we see things in videos that we wouldn't normally see in just a still image. And like, have you ever done a video and you totally messed up? You forgot where you're going, you bombed
All the time.
all the time. And you're thinking, oh my God, where am I going with this? And oh, I look like an
Yeah.
idiot. And I just did that thing. And oh, I just twitched and everyone's going to know. Like, so now people are seeing that and they're interpreting that in so many different ways. Well, in a picture, you don't have to worry about all of that. It is what it is. And people will still interpret your image in different ways, but you can make that selection of, okay, this is exactly the message that I want to send. This picture, I'm smiling, I look confident, I look happy, I look carefree and fun loving. Like you can pick the image that represents you the best without worrying about everything else.
Yeah, absolutely. Love that. This is I'm really enjoying this. It's fantastic, great stuff. Uh, Gonna kind of move on to a negative part, if you like. What's the biggest issue you face when you take profile photos?
Well, to begin, I don't usually go in going, I'm going to take your profile photo.
Yeah.
So I find out first what is it that the person needs the pictures for and why it's important. So it goes into the personal brand. So, for example, I work with a lot of coaches, authors, experts in their industry, professionals like doctors, attorneys, those kind of people. And for me, let's say I'm working with a coach. I'll ask, what is it that you're coaching? What is it that you're trying to do? And they say, well, I want to be able to take people to that next level and transform them, but really so they can understand themselves better. Okay, so you're kind of like a therapist. Yes, I'm kind of like a therapist. All right, so you want your clients to be able to sit with you, have a cup of coffee or tea, connect with you on an emotional level, really feel safe with you. They can spill their beans, they can look you in the eye and know that you get them. And they go, yeah, that's exactly. I want them to know I get them and I'm here for them. I'm their nurture system. I'm their support. Okay. So now that I know what their purpose is and who they are and what they want to do, I can now craft a look and an image that'll represent that. And then from those images, we pick the best one that can be used for a profile photo. So the whole purpose of a profile photo is someone can see who you are and they make a decision in 1/10 of a second whether they want to work with you, speak to you, interact with you, like you, trust you, whatever it is, they're going to make that decision in a second. And it's if they identify with you. So you have to know what the message is that you want to deliver in that image, the purpose behind it, and you have to craft an image that represents that. So for example, one of my clients, she's actually a behavioral scientist. Like she works with people on the spectrum to help correct their behavior. So autistic children, for example.
Hmm.
And for her, she works with their parents a lot. So she wants an image that shows that she is friendly but still confident and safe. So we made a point to craft an image that she was wearing very light neutral colors, so creams and beige. So they're very safe, warm, inviting colors. Photographed her on a beautiful white sofa. It didn't feel like a sofa that would be in someone's living room. It felt a little bit more professional, like it would be in an office space, like a therapy space. And beautiful, soft, natural light. She was leaning forward, arms together, like holding her hands softly, leaning in with a beautiful smile and her head slightly tilted, hair slightly forward. And what it represented was that she was leaning in. She's in a safe, cozy environment. You can feel safe and comfortable around her. She wants to hear more. She's excited to see you, but not too excited. There's not that intensity like, I'm here. It's like a super soft, like, okay, tell me how you're feeling so I can make you better. How can I help make this better? And she feels in her image, it's confident, it's warm, it's inviting, it's kind, it's soft, it's loving. So those are the messages that her image captures. And when people saw this, like the feedback she got was insane. They're like, "Oh my gosh, this is you. This is who you are. You look radiant. You look beautiful. You look kind. I want to work with you." And her business completely transformed.
I've never heard somebody put it as eloquently as, and that's the second time I've used that in one podcast. Eloquent, third time, as so succinct as you do in terms of what makes a good photo and the differences and the nuances for just individual people. It is, like you said, an absolute skill, and you can just tell you're at the top of your game, and that's why you take
Thank you.
amazing photos. So
It's unique for everybody. So I'm going to touch on one more thing. So that was for like
absolutely.
a therapist, right? So now let's look at the flip side. Let's look at an attorney. And I get attorneys all the time, and that's why I love them so much, because each attorney is different, but the perception of attorneys is a specific way. People think, oh boy, the attorney is just out to take my money, right? He's aggressive, he's this, he's that. But think about it. If you want to hire someone to help you through a divorce, for example, and let's say you don't like your partner, you're leaving, you're breaking up, they weren't nice, you know they're going to try to take all your money, and you just want to get them, right? But what you've been through, you want an attorney who's going to sympathize with you, completely understand where you've been through, right? What you've been through. And you want them to not only get you, but really want to fight for you to help you through this divorce. Well, if you're looking at attorneys and the attorney looks sheepish or meek, like they just don't care and can't get the job done, you're going to skip them. But if the attorney looks so aggressive and hard, and that's not really what you want because you want them to understand you, you might skip that attorney as well. So I say, if you're an attorney, capture an image that is authentic to you. So if you are a little bit strict, you are cut and dry, like you're going to make this happen, but you're kind of funny at the same time, you tell good jokes, capture an image that shows that, so that the person looking for you goes, oh my gosh, this attorney looks like they would be fun to work with, but they look like a shark. They're totally going to get them, but they're going to get me at the same time. And when you do that, yes, you'll turn off some people, but the people you want to work with are going to find you because they're going to see that message instantly in your picture, and they're going to go, okay, this is my guy. This is the person, or this is my woman that I want to work with. And that's the type of messaging that you want to deliver for whatever industry you're in.
It very much sounds like one of the biggest problems you face is people not knowing who they are, which is bizarre, and
Yeah.
which is weird when you think about it. You know, who are you? What's your authentic persona, and what do you do? What problem do you solve? And it's almost like they don't know that, and then you coming in get that out of them.
It's true. And a lot of people don't. I mean, think about it. How we've been raised, the world that we live in, people don't know what they want to do with themselves. They don't know who they are. People always say, I feel lost. I don't know. I can't find me. I don't know who I am anymore. I don't believe that's true. I believe we all know who we are. We just have to unearth it. We also have to believe in the people who love us and what they say about us. So I always ask people, in order to discover who you are, first, write down who you think you are, as in, are you funny? Are you loving? Are you warm? Are you someone who wants to help others? Like, what kind of person you think you are? And then in a fresh list, write down what other people say about you. So does your mom think that you're so creative, and your best friend think that, oh my gosh, you make me laugh. You're like the funniest person ever. Maybe you don't think you're funny, but people often tell you that you're funny. Or maybe people tell you, you're super sarcastic, like whatever it is. Take note of what other people are saying, and then compare your lists and see where you could say, oh, okay, I could see that. Yes, I am funny. Or yes, I can be super sarcastic, but my sarcasm is funny. Other people find it funny. And that's a way that you can start to craft and have a realization and awakening of who you actually are.
So you don't just take photos, you're more of a psychologist as well.
Kind of, yeah. It just kind of worked out by default.
Yeah, hide behind the camera. Really giving everyone therapy as you go along.
I know. Well, it's all about finding who their best selves are. Like, who is the best version of you? And it's that moment that I told you when you walk away from something that you just did, like engaging with your friends, or maybe you had a successful meeting or a project that went incredibly well, or you closed that sale, that high that you feel from that, who are you in that moment?
Hmm.
So when you think of a time that you've ever done something that you were like, oh man, I slayed it. It was so good. When you walk away from that moment, think about at that time, are you excited? Are you loving? Do you want to call up your friends and tell them how much you love them and how great your day was? Are you someone who's more stoic? Okay, I'm going to take this for myself and I'm going to sit down and just feel this alone and be happy. Like, who are you? And that's how you can craft who you are, by living in those moments of success and joy and what comes out of that.
Magical. So that's the only word to describe it. I'm just loving the conversation. It's just so inspiring. Uh,
I talk about this in my TED talk. I did a TEDx talk and I talk about what your photograph is saying about you and the invisible side of us and how you can draw that out, because we have a part of us that we don't even see. And then when it's presented to us, we're like, oh my gosh, it's a huge aha moment.
Mhm.
So if you go on YouTube, just YouTube Sandy Grigsby and you'll see my TEDx talk. It's up there. Or you can go to sandyinfocus.com and I have it there posted on my website.
Or you,
But you can learn more about it.
or you can look at the show notes because all the links will be in there anyway.
Oh,
So
yeah.
put them in there for ease of use. So if you haven't already, or you're listening to this and you can do, get your phone out, scroll down to the show notes and click on that TED Talk and finish this podcast first, but go and listen to that TED Talk after this. That's what I'd suggest. So I'm hoping you can help us out one final time here.
Yes.
Sandy, could you give us some tips for people that are looking to take their own profile images, photography, that kind of stuff? Where do they start? What are the basics that they can do? I know we've covered quite a few, but are there any more that you could provide us?
Yes. Okay. So first of all, if you're looking for a photographer, this is the best advice I can give you, because I have my clients flying from all over the world. I've had people from London, I've had people from Australia, Canada, everywhere. They fly in from everywhere to shoot with me. But that's not an option for everybody. So if you're looking for a photographer, I advise that you go through their portfolio. And this is not just what's on their website. Look at their Instagram, look at other places that they're posting their images, and see if you like their images overall, not just one or two images. The mistake people make is they get fixated on one image. They go, "Oh, this is exactly what I want. This person's going to capture it, and it's so perfect." Nothing else. No, I'm sorry. Nothing else in their portfolio works, but this one picture is it, and I know they can do that. Well, sometimes it's a fluke. They got that image by chance or by luck. Okay, so make sure that you love everything in their portfolio, and that is the style that you want. So if you want something that's light and bright and everything in their portfolio is dark, so the cast is dark, the colors, the backgrounds, the shadows, everything's dark, but you want light and bright, that might not be the right photographer for you, because it's an art. So their art is to go towards darker images. And if you want lighter, brighter images and they don't do that, they're going to struggle with that. So make sure you really look at their portfolio. Then follow my steps for being confident on camera by elongating the spine and neck, doing the turtleneck, relaxing your shoulders, sticking out your butt, and just living and joy in that moment. It's going to help a lot. And then one last tip for being ready for camera and having your picture taken is get a really good night's sleep 2 nights before your photos.
Okay. So two nights in a row?
No, 2 nights before. So if your photos are going to be taken on a Wednesday, for example, Monday night is the night that you want to get your best night's sleep. Now, I've had this verified with the sleep doctor, Dr. Michael Bruce, who's spoken on The Doctors, The Oz Show, a bunch of other huge shows. He was on Oprah, all of these shows. He actually says, yes, that is correct. So what happens is 2 nights before, if you get a really good night's sleep, your body only really feels it 2 days later. So that also goes if you need to take a test, like people who take a real estate exam or are studying for finals or whatnot. I say 2 nights before, that's the night that you need to make sure you're rested, because the night before you might stay up cramming or you might have insomnia or your brain's overthinking, and you're going to wake up in the next morning and not have very much sleep, and you might be tired, but your body isn't going to show it until the next day. So think of that party that you went to on a Friday night and Sunday you were destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
You were fine Saturday, but Sunday you're like, oh, I slept so well Saturday night. Why do I feel like a bus ran me over? It's the same idea. So if you have a photo shoot coming up, don't worry about the night before because we all can stay up for many reasons. But 2 nights before, make sure that you get a really good night's sleep.
That's a brilliant tip. I'm going to be trying that all the time now.
Yeah.
That's great. So, Sandy, I like to finish all my chats with guests with 5 quick fire questions. And I know you haven't prepared for these either, which it'll be really interesting.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, what is your number one go-to source of information? So anything, books, websites, whatever you want. What's the one thing you go to for your info?
I would have to say Google and then Audible. So I have 2 because I kind of toggle between those. It's 50-50.
Cool. This will be interesting. What was the last thing you Googled?
The last thing I Googled was Cameron Sinclair, and that's because he was a guest on my Thursday morning Unity mentor calls, and I needed to do a write-up on him, and he's incredible. He worked with Airbnb, he worked with the Jolie Pitt Foundation, and he does innovation and social responsibility, and he's an architect, and he brings teams together to create experiences and help people and do foundational work all over the world. He's amazing, so Google him.
Excellent. What is your one tip for people who are looking to get into photography?
If you're looking to get into photography, I would say watch videos on, for example, Creative Live, or you can find them on YouTube. Watch videos about photography in whatever field you're interested in. So if you want to do animal photography, watch amazing photographers and their tools and techniques for photographing animals. If you want to do portraits, same thing, but try to absorb as much content as possible because that's how you're going to spark your creative light, and you're also going to learn the technical aspects along the way.
If you could tell your 10-year-old self one thing, what would it be?
I would tell my 10-year-old self that all those mean kids in elementary school will not be happy once they're older. So don't worry about them and continue doing the things you love because that's going to make magic for you as you age.
Yeah.
Also, stay out of the sun because you want to look like you're 10 when you're 40.
Really, yeah, that second one. Just as you're leaving. Oh, yeah, stay out the sun.
Stay out the sun.
Brilliant. If only we could tell, and they would believe us, every 10-year-old child that, then it'd just be an amazing, wonderful world because they would just be whoever they needed to be and it'd be fantastic.
I have to confess, I do tell all little kids like between 10 and 14 to stop worrying about what the mean kids at school are saying or doing. And then I tell them everybody who was a cool, popular, or mean kid at school, all of them now are miserable, out of shape, just like none of them are doing well. And all the nerdy kids that I went to school with are the ones that were kind of shunned or shied away. All of them are multi-millionaires, hugely successful, creative artists. So that's what I tell the kids. And they're like, really? I'm like, yeah, so keep doing you.
Yeah, absolutely. Always be you. So final, most important question, Sandy. If people want to find out more about yourself, where should they go?
sandyinfocus.com.
Perfect. Sandy, thank you so much for coming on. It's just been absolutely amazing talking to you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. I had an awesome time.
Sandy, thanks once again for joining us and sharing your photogenic words of wisdom. And here are just some of the takeaways I got from that amazing chat. First of all, Sandy was kind enough to give us some simple tips to make our profile photos, or our photos in general, better. So remember, you need to be prepared mentally unless it will show on film. Correct your posture and show your confidence to the camera. Turtleneck it and stick your butt out. Don't be afraid to do it. It may feel a little odd, but the camera sees us differently to what we see through our own eyes. So use these tips to get better results. Photography can be so powerful as a camera can capture a singular moment in time. It is also compounded by the fact that a photo can make you think, spark imagination and curiosity. It can mean different things to different people, and a video can't do this, as it's a continually moving element. And there is usually a narrative to that as well. So think about how a photo will make people think and react. And finally, if you're not looking to fly to the US for Sandy's services, what should we look for in a photographer? And how should we prepare for a photo shoot? Well, firstly, go through their profile and work out if these are the types of images you want, taking a holistic view of the overall portfolio of work. Secondly, take the confidence steps Sandy talked us through previously. They will work wonders. And finally, be camera ready. Get a good night's sleep. Not one, but 2 nights before your photo shoot. Look your beautiful, confident best. Thank you so much for joining us today on Marketing Study Lab. It really means the world that you're listening to this out there. And hopefully I've provided you some value. If you're looking to know more about what Marketing Study Lab does and is about, go to marketingstudylab.co.uk or get in touch with me personally, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, or feel free to email me at peter@marketingstudylab.co.uk. Happy marketing.